Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Boring Enterprise Nerdcast, coming at you with a special new feature called the Hot Potatoes, or something like that. We'll probably think of a better name for it as we go. But right now, we're calling it Hot Potatoes, which is where Yelena and I will just kind of talk more in depth about a few things. In some cases, we'll talk more in depth about a story that we wrote up in the past. In other cases, we'll just talk more in depth about something that's struck our minds and just deserves more discussion. And we want to make sure we open it up to the community as well and have people hopefully talk and share with us and amongst us about all this stuff. So we have a list of 4 or 5 things for this week's
Five.
uh, five. Yes, thank you. 5 things. Um, Yelena, I move that we just jump into the first one, huh? Let's
Awesome,
just
sweet.
let's
So
just
we
keep
have,
that potato hot and
yep,
throw it around.
hot, 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 hot. All right, so coming at you, I'm gonna share my screen as usual. So our very first hot potato of the day is social media buzz about SAP Enterprise Architect Certification.
Yeah, yeah.
So I chimed in already on Twitter on it, thus generating the buzz artificially, if you will. And so very interesting news. So SAP, in effort to reduce the skill gap, they came out with a new certification program for enterprise architects,
Mm.
which I think is really great endeavor as an idea. But when I looked at the availability of training, and if you go to the SAP Learning website, you will see only 2 items there right now. So one of them will take you to this training, which is official SAP training that you do full day. You can see schedule. It's a full day of training for 5 days.
Mm.
And then second item there is just a link to the certification test itself. But I guess,
Mm.
especially since it's a new certification, I bet most people would really go for this training. Otherwise, there isn't really any other
Yeah,
training alternatives. So, and I think price is a little bit, I think, steep even for
yeah.
enterprises. For private persons, that's that's just prohibitive. I'm also was slightly confused. Why is this scheduled just in July and then only in October? That seemed a bit weird to me. What do you think, Paul, about this
So
type
I
of
kind of
arrangement?
so a couple things. I kind of
Mm,
think that like schedule wise, I kind of wonder if there's like at the outset if there's not as much market there as they're
mm,
hoping for the first round. Maybe I'm not sure because it doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing. I mean, I know I've been through SAP training. You might
mm,
have done it too.
yeah.
Um, when I
BC
first
400.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because when I first started with SAP ABAP, my company sent me to Atlanta to do
Mm,
BC, I think BC 400 or whatever that was,
mm,
in the intro to ABAP one, where you the ABAP Hello World, right? And and those things are always like, holy cow, how do you get away with charging that much
yeah,
for that stuff? So that's one
yeah.
thing. Um, the other thing is, I kind of hope that this like that the secret underground market or whatever of like training and books and
Yeah.
stuff like that about this topic kind of comes to life if this
Mm,
training or if this certification sees value. I know we can talk about
mhm,
certifications
yeah.
themselves, but like the it, the only going to a $4,500 plus more depending on your travel and other
Plus
needs,
tax. Yeah.
plus God knows how you're, if your company's paying for it, great. If your company's not paying for it, then heaven knows how you're gonna arrange this in your life. Um, like that's a huge commitment of dollars to
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah. Dollars.
Especially if SAP like wants people to do this. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
The the flip side of all this, I think, is that so setting aside the price and the timing and all that kind of stuff, this architecture skill set is so vital, I think, to the universe of what's going on out there that it's again, take out the price, take out the scheduling, whatever. this skill set is needed. It's
Yeah.
100% when I go to a customer and I see things falling apart or weird, I think you can always kind of trace it back to how they set up architecture for
Mm.
various bits of their activities. And that's whether it's pure dev techie activities or other kinds of software configuration setup activities that kind of fall into the architecture bucket.
Mm.
So I think it's hugely important and deserves. Weirdly, I think it's here's the weird thing. Some business school person will probably slap me, but like I think it's so important that you probably should make the price more affordable, if that makes sense, right? If you're
Yeah.
SAP and you want this out in the world, like make it a little more palatable because like imagine 15 people sitting in a class, right? That's 80 grand
Yeah.
in the class with you,
Yeah.
or give or take a few bucks there, but like
Yeah.
it I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems a little bit too much anyway. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend time to talking about just price, but honestly, I think this content really learning itself should be practically free. It's
Yeah.
okay if you have, of course, if you have actual trainer. So yeah, there is obviously money spent. You have actual person training you, and that should be at some cost. But there should be alternative for everyone who wants to take the certification exam to consume some content at their own pace, free or for very, very low cost, and
Yeah.
then just pass the exam if they like. I think that's the ideal scenario. But and funny, there is actually open SAP course on enterprise architecture. It was just an introductory one. So I definitely would like to see more,
Oh,
but it's
sure.
but it's not even mentioned on this page. It's just literally this one and that's it. All right. So I see, Paul, I
Yeah.
think we forgot our little timer here, but it's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So
Yes.
we
We must
wanted
move on.
yeah, we wanted to
Yeah.
spend limited amount of
But
time on each potato. So let's move on to
next potato.
potato. Yeah, next potato. All right. So next potato.
Data silos.
Data silo. So again, very, very interesting post that I've just read today by our good SAP mentor friend Vijay Sankar, um, currently with IBM. So Vijay also always have those really nice, thoughtful posts on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and I highly recommend following him. This time he is following on the article that talks about the rise of the composable CDP. And CDP here is some kind of custom data platform.
Mhm.
So it's basically something like, let's say, SAP DataSphere or whatever data platform thing. Every software vendor has something of it, and it talks about, I think, technology challenges and organizational challenges. But what I like about Vijay's post here, he highlights right away that companies are just built as collection of silos.
Yeah.
And I think whatever you try to do with technology, all of that will be definitely affected by inevitable. And I know as IBM is really, really bad with their silos. Every big company is. SAP is just as
Yeah.
bad, and any other company. I think all of us worked at. They all have those very small compartments of
Mhm.
people which all have different ideas.
Yeah.
And to me, it triggered kind of thought back to the stories that I shared in the last newsletter about data warehouse, data lake, and data mesh, and how data mesh might be latest answer to those silos of data, because that's affects where your data lives, where who shares this data with whom, and how you structure it organization wide. I'm kind of curious if that really is going to play out, how data mesh evangelists say it will. I hope it helps enterprises, because this siloism is definitely an issue, I think, that affects data a lot, but also practically all the enterprise software. I think what are your thoughts, Paul?
So I my first job as like a developer, like a programmer,
Mhm.
I worked in a finance department and this is years ago, you know,
Mm.
15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. God, I'm old. And like, and that place, we had none of the cloud things at all. We had none of the modern data solutions, and we had the exact same problems
Mm.
of data silos, and every department had 14 of their own proprietary access databases that held vital information that was locked away in those
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
And 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 in my career, bouncing from job to job, role to role, company to company, I don't feel like anybody has actually done a meaningful job of changing that story, right?
Yeah.
Because everywhere I turn, like you can't swing a dead, you know, Schrodinger's cat without hitting like another data consolidation solution.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that XKCD comic where, like, I don't know if you've ever seen that, where the character's like, um, oh my gosh, there are too many protocol languages, XML, JSON, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'll invent another protocol languages that takes
Yeah.
care of those.
Yeah.
And then it says, new problem. There are
Yeah.
15 protocol languages out there, right?
Yeah.
Like this to me is that same problem, is that I mean, I think it is in that data, like, I don't feel like data has ever been solved ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and like you could, if you, the only way you could solve it, I think, and this is just me wild hair speculating, if you could stop all other technology for all time, eventually your data platform stuff would catch up. But
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that the other stuff doesn't stop changing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It just feels like a, I'm glad there are smarter people than me thinking about it, because I don't feel like I don't ever feel like data ever gets tackled. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's been a long
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. I was just looking at it. Netflix is hiring, so
Yeah. Oh, hey.
I'm thinking about making like a maybe I know slides of this ads that I'm seeing on LinkedIn with this random company name
Right.
generator that obviously LinkedIn is using. Sweet. All right, so let's move
Okay.
on
Let's move on to the
to
next one.
next hot potato. All right, so hot potato number three,
Yes.
boring report.
I
So all right,
want to, so I want to share this
all right.
because I did a story about this in the last, um, in the last, yes, let's go do the share. Come on. I did a story about this in the last, uh, issue of our newsletter.
Mm,
And this tool is really cool. This is the Boring Report app that you can get on the App Store. And what it does is it uses large language model AI to take existing news stories and like turn down the volume on the like sensationalist language,
mm-hmm,
and try to just give you sort of, I guess, roughly speaking, just the facts, ma'am, kind of stuff
mm-hmm,
about those stories. So take this. I pulled up one that I thought was a good one. This story here at the top, the political story, says debt ceiling discussions continue among Republicans, right?
mm-hmm,
So, and this gives you just a few facts about it. And hey, that's interesting. That's national news. That kind of
mm-hmm,
looks at how the U.S. is doing business. But what this app also does, which I think is pretty cool, is it shows you the story that it took it from,
mm-hmm.
and shows you how much it tuned it down. Right. So if you look at this, the title was "Conservatives Surprise McCarthy with Floor Rebellion Over Debt Deal Anger." Right. And
Yeah,
like it's got like an angry looking guy, like, I'm a legislator, you know, and
yeah,
like this language of rebellion, anger, surprise, all those things drilled into it, that just like they're intended to set off your brain, your monkey brain, into like, my tribe is better than that tribe, and I must fight and I must win and all this kind of stuff. When like if I sit and think about it, I just want to know the information, right? I don't
mm-hmm,
want to be manipulated into being mad about something, you
yeah,
know? And so this app is so good. I I still don't use it as much as I would like to, but like Just look at here's the great thing. Look at how boring these headlines are. Air quality affected by Canadian wildfires. I mean, it sounds obvious, but oh, interesting. I wonder what's going on with that, right? And look at the headline there, right? That it kind of took it that it took it from. Like just all these factual blobs really helped me, I think, get sort of a like keep my heart rate down as I read the news,
Mm.
you know, keep my blood pressure a little more even keel as I read the news, but still give me like the information. And so, uh, kudos again to the developers of this thing. Yelena, any thoughts or commentary further on this stuff here?
I think it would be very sweet to unleash it onto SAP's information and all the
Yeah,
blog posts and especially some of the SAP messages because how many times you just read it and read it and like I understand every word by itself, but together, like what are you actually saying?
yeah,
What are you
yeah,
telling me? What's the gist of it?
yep.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think it would be very, very interesting application.
It's one of those things that like I know that I do too many stories about GPT and large and AIs if I know I do, but like this is at least one of those things that like maybe there's good to be had somewhere, right?
Mm,
Maybe there's good to be had other than just vomiting up 1,000 marketing blogs about kayaks, right? Automatically,
yeah.
and then juicing your SEO because of that. But instead, tuning it down toward things that are meaningful and better. And this, I'm like, I don't think this app is going to change the world, but I think it's on the right path to how you should think about it. You know.
Mm,
Anyway,
yeah.
that's my that's my furtherance of that discussion.
All right.
So let's
Awesome.
let's look at the
I
next hot
already
potato.
switched to
Yeah. Okay. Good.
the next hot potatoes. Hot
Okay.
potato number 4. So this will be our hot potato.
Woo-wee.
SAP's AI game. So what we wanted to chat about here, as we all know, Sapphire 2023 just closed its doors in May, and AI was a huge, like bigly
Yeah.
subject in the keynote,
Yep.
even I think in 2 keynotes. And I've just read this commentary on the keynote. I think Tobias here is right on point about, well, there was like a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, but what does it really mean for SAP customers?
Mhm.
And I think he's asking like the right questions here. Is this available in the cloud? Why? What does it mean for on-premise customers? Do you just need to buy this license and start using it? Will you get any benefit? So I think it's kind of resonates with my own impression of this keynote. I mean, keynote was fine. I mean, all keynotes I think are okay, but this one was like, okay, we talked about AI because everyone is talking about it, but now what? Um,
Yeah.
is there anything specific that you already have? Because to me, it was like, oh, we also have AI and we're also working on it and we also thinking about it. But um, is there anything specific that customers can use right away?
You know,
Mm.
I think I think I think actually SAP out of the tech vendors, SAP probably at its core understands the notion that like something has more impact if you don't talk about how you did it, but you talk about what you did. Just tell me the story,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they also know that in the current climate, in the right now climate, especially pushing a month ago or so like that,
Mm-hmm.
when Sapphire was out, like you can't you can't open your mouth without talking about generative AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of realize that like if they don't say anything about it, they're gonna sound way out of touch
Yeah.
and way out of tune. But
Yeah.
they also know, I think they also know that the real stories are stories. Like
Mm-hmm.
not hey, we made it so that you can write a better job posting from success factors, but hey, this company, and here's the lady from this company who did it, and their hires improved by 14% or whatever, right? That kind of stuff is what actually matters. Once you can push the once you can push the generative AI piece down out of the headline,
Mm,
then you've done the thing. Then you've actually done it, I think. And I think SAP knows that. And I will be looking forward to, because last year Sapphire had a couple of really cool stories that were actually real live stories. I think they were in Scott Russell's presentation. One of them was Casey's Pizza. And it was about an app that you used to like manage your pizzas at this gas station, which sounds so boring, but at the
mm.
same time, like I like gas station pizza. It's a guilty pleasure of
Yeah.
mine, and it's
Mm,
good. And I like an app that's like half pepperoni. Cool, it's done in 5 minutes. I'll see you there, right?
mm,
That is where the all of these, because SAP talks about having variously 80 or 100 various use cases and stuff for AI. Like once the AI is not in the headline, there is when those use cases become like amazing, you
mm.
know? So that's my thought here is SAP had to walk a fine line with this AI stuff this time around.
Yeah, I'm curious what will actually happen at TechEd.
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes we're seeing some disconnect between what is talked
Mm,
about at Sapphire and then what is talked about at TechEd, where you usually hear the real stuff. Is there, so
yeah.
how does it actually work? And I don't know if SAP um, will be aware of it, and in those few months they will now urgently like, oh, give us some put together more AI stuff so that we can, kind of pick up the pace and talk even more at TechEd.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I think it's been kind of SAP's um, problem, I would put it, for a long time, that they try to make something happen for the event. And
Yeah.
we've seen many times that something is either just underbaked, that's suddenly pushed out, or something that's barely released so that someone can just make an announcement that we're
Yeah.
releasing, but then everyone like working nights
Yeah.
making kind of
Yeah.
beta version out of alpha version or stuff like that. So I don't know. I kind of wish maybe that SAP would stop this rush, but I'm sure they're not going to listen to that advice.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
all right. All right. So
Okay,
so
cool.
our last
Good hot
but
potato.
not
Last hot potato.
least,
Yes.
yeah, last hot potato number 5. So follow up on the too long didn't watch story that we had in our issue number the 27. Man, it's been a
Man, that's
while. So
forever
yeah,
ago.
it's like forever ago. We're up to almost 40 this week. Um, so I have written about some of the cool apps, and this is for more AI stuff. So we're
Yeah,
just like
we're
SAP,
just
where
we're
we're
falling for the trap.
talking about
Yeah,
AI and AI and
yeah.
AI stuff. So these are very nice apps that help you to summarize videos or to provide some kind of other video related AI tools.
Mm,
And I actually like Pictory AI quite a bit, and I used it to create some of our own videos on our YouTube channel.
mm,
Now we have that 2022 in retrospect, which
mm.
which is really just a breeze to put together from a bunch of pictures and slides. So very, 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 very useful. And now there are more AI tools that do all kinds of things. And so this is not really enterprise related, but I thought it was a really fun
Mhm.
subject. There is
Oh,
there
I
is a
love
step
these
by
things. I
step
love these
tutorial.
things.
Yes, this Balenciaga
Yep.
mid-journey generated videos.
Love these
They're
things.
they're all the rage these days with the kids. Um, so I found this one. This is actually tutorial how to make one of those Balenciaga videos, and it's just 6 minutes long. I watched it yesterday. I'm not gonna not gonna show it to you. We will have this link in our video
Yeah.
description. But what it does, it walks you through all the steps, how you use ChatGPT, how you use Midjourney, and how you use a couple of other AI tools to put together your own video um, of Balenciaga and anything else, any
Mhm.
other characters that you that you want to imagine. Like if you want to do like your team and Balenciaga, you can easily do that. Or if you want to do like your company or your other favorite movie or book or anything else, anything like that, it's totally possible with this really amazing like more than 1 million views for this tutorial. Highly
Yeah,
recommend it. It's
so
really,
good.
really cool.
I
Right.
love this stuff.
So Paul, we should do maybe like boring enterprise stores Balenciaga or something
Oh my
like that.
gosh.
I
Oh
think
my
that
gosh.
would be pretty funny. Awesome.
I have nothing. I have no commentary to add except that I love these videos, and everybody doing this stuff should just keep on doing it. I just AI for the purposes of satire and humor
Yeah.
is also one of those things that I love because that's one of those
Yeah.
places where it's like it's augmenting human. Like a human is still dreaming up the absurdity of like Game
Mhm.
of Thrones Balenciaga, right? But it's funny, and it's funnier when Jon Snow in a Balenciaga like inflatable puffy vest is like on the screen. It's just
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super, super fun and super fun. Awesome.
Okay, well that's guys, that's our last hot potato um for this edition of the Boring Enterprise Nerdcast Hot Potatoes edition. Uh so we will sign out now and see you soon for some more cool, crazy, awesome stuff. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.